Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show, training our horses and miniature cows in ranch versatility. Penning Rusty and Susie, our bull and heifer. Roping Rusty with Morgan horse Semi. Training Eve to drive cart. Training Eve to work over her haunches with a motor cow simulator. Training Eve to lay down. Training Eve to harness, pull a log. Training Semi to harness, pull a log on turf. Liberty jumping to music with our horses who are our partners. Training Eve on a cow roping simulator. Training on our driveway, which is covered by sand, so we have a straight track. Stepping over poles, jumping over crossbar jumps. Training in our trail obstacles course. Sadie doing obstacles without rein control. Training miniature zebu bull Rusty to pull an implement.
Trail ride with Semi, my 6-year-old, and Sadie, my coming 3-year-old. Sadie needs a little bit more confidence on the trail. Semi has had quite a bit of trail experience, but there's never too much. We're going to take Semi and Sadie to the place that Sadie got a little bit spooked at last week because she didn't have an equine with her to give her confidence, didn't quite trust her rider yet, or her join-up person. So we're going straight there to the trailer near the road and to the farm implement and the pile covered with a blue tarp. We're going to see if Semi gives her confidence today. Well, they're now approaching the trailer, which is on the road rather than on the shoulder of the road. The farm implement, the blue tarp, is a little bit beyond, to the left of the horses. And as you can hear, I'm sure, on this camera, it's very windy up here. So far, no spooking at the trailer, but Sadie looks around a lot. She's the horse on the right. Semi and Sadie, with their riders, is approaching the blue tarp pile and the farm implement. We're letting Semi go first in the hopes that she will not spook at all and give Sadie confidence. They're going by. I'm sure they will soon turn around and come back by these potentially spooky objects that one would find anywhere on a farm or a ranch. My horses are being trained for ranch versatility. Walking by farm implements and piles covered by tarps has to be done without stress. Now, this is a dead-end street, kind of quiet, but vast openness beyond, so they may be showing stress just being in the vast openness. Rosie's trying to gain Semi's confidence. My 6-year-old, she's actually showing a little bit of stress. But remember, this is her first ride out in this vicinity this spring. And it's very, very windy, although it is a sunny day. There was no problem asking Sadie to step off the grass onto the asphalt today, probably because Semi was with her. The other day she was a little bit hesitant. Wasn't quite sure what was on the ground in front of her when we last asked her to step off the shoulder onto this asphalted road. Remember, this is an urban-rural setting, so we have to deal with urban and rural spooky objects. Sadie checking out the trailer. Semi walking right by. There we go. All right, we're gonna continue on the urban-rural trail toward Moore Creek Preserve. All right, we're going down Refugio now towards Meter Street. There are spooky, potentially spooky objects all the way down here. Last year, this grassy area here had a bunch of flowers, all different colors. This year, only orange ones. The horses walked right by. Horses are purportedly colorblind, but they can see different shades. A little bit of concern up there. We're in no rush today. We'll go only as far as we feel comfortable going. And we're trying to show you how it goes. On the trail in duo with my Morgan horses, Semi and Sadie. You see this rock path next to the road. Potentially can be very dangerous if you have a spooking horse. You see what Semi's doing right now, fortunately just on the grass. If a horse were to spook away or back away and step in these rocks, they very easily could cut themselves, pull a ligament, whatever. So ride defensively when you're riding young horses on the trail. Look for problems that you would like to avoid. Here's a closer view of what the horses were hesitating at. There's some formidable fencing here at this driveway entrance, and there's some red flags in the ground, which could have been a little bit spooky to them. So Alexis on Sadie and Rosie on Semi gave them time to investigate, feel confident, and onward they went, about ready to turn onto Meter, which will have its own spooky objects and potentially dangerous places in this urban, rural setting of Santa Cruz County. Here the horses are going on Meter Street toward Moore Creek Preserve. They've ridden this several times before, but months ago before the rains. So far, looks like there's nothing to spook at. Along Meter Street, there's a drainage ditch filled with rocks. Something that every rider who happens to be walking along this apparently quiet rural urban road should be aware of in case there is something that spooks a horse, because that is not a good place to have to deal with a side-passing horse. Even something like a buggy or a small dog or a loud truck can cause spooky behavior here on this country road. Again, along Meter Street, another potentially spooky place, although it's apparently beautiful. So if a horse in this pasture comes charging up to this white fence while a horse is meandering down this road that's asphalt, some potholes, some rock surface, it could be potentially dangerous. So we always, when we go by here, say, heads up, let's watch for potential spooky things to happen. The horses are now meandering up the trail in Moore Creek Preserve. They very likely will be seeing other beings here. Not dogs, because they're not allowed, but bipeds on foot. They can be quite spooky. Not bikes, because they're not allowed, but other horses or cows hang out here at Moore Creek Preserve. This time of year, it's very nice to have a trail like this, which is short grassed, because these long grasses over here, if you have to ride through them, especially as the weather gets warmer and warmer, ticks become a big problem. But here, sign you'll see in this portion of Moore Creek: sensitive wildlife, foot traffic only, no dogs. However, horses are permitted with the proper application procedures. Here come the girls on the way back on the trail in Moore Creek. We can come up to a cross fence where there's sometimes bulls or cows hanging out. There's some corrals back here that can have rushing horses. But geez, it looks like everybody is having a relaxing time. And that's what trail riding should be like. Rosie's going to tell you a little bit at this halfway point about what it was like coming here to Refugio, Moore Creek Preserve, and then Alexis will tell you what she felt on Sadie. Rosie?
Alert and interested in things as we went along the Refugio Road, but didn't spook at anything. Had to stop and look at things a couple times, but they were pretty good. They were even, I thought, quite good about two very young children going by on their bicycles. And then we came out here and they've just been walking along the trail in the preserve, and I thought they've been great. We even encountered, well, not really encountered because they didn't ever get very close, but there were some people walking over there on that part of the trail, and that didn't seem to cause them any real concern. And then we just walked down there and then back, and they're pretty great, I thought.
Wonderful. Now, keep in mind that sometimes you're going to come out here, depending upon the time of year, and you're going to find some cows, and they tend to hang out where you turned around. So, as a matter of fact, unfortunately, you may even encounter some bulls. So, try to be aware. Okay, now Alexis is going to tell you what it was like on Sadie, my almost 3-year-old.
I don't think I can add much more. That was pretty. They were pretty good. You know, she wasn't looking around too much, which is really cool.
All right.
Definitely had some, alertness, like Rosie said, and curiosity along the way.
All right. Then what we're going to do is let you meander on home. Let's see what we meet up with, and we'll have another description again when we get home. Heading back now down Refugio. A couple of hikers went by, but as long as the horses know that they're there, good idea to turn around and look at them, or to ask them to say heads up or something, so there's no sneakiness in the eyes of the horse. They were just fine on it. You can hear the wind, I'm sure. Still very, very windy here, but I always say, if you don't like the weather in Santa Cruz, wait a minute. We're close to the ocean and the weather can change very quickly. Another potential spooky object, a person with a dog on a leash. As she approaches the horses, they may hear her and the dog. They may smell her and the dog. It would be nice to be able to educate people when they're walking near horses, to let them know that it's a good idea to let the horse know that they're there. Perhaps this program on community TV broadcast will help to get that message across. Now we're at the corner of Refugio and Meter Street. There are some formidable, possible spooky objects here, like this very big valve assembly in bright red. signs here at the corner, the mailbox here at the corner. Real estate signs that are designed to attract attention. An asphalt street with a incline, which can be slippery, especially if you have a spooking horse. A lot of white fencing, which sometimes can be spooky to a horse as well. Even this car right here by the fence with a cover on it that's flapping in the wind. Perhaps the horse won't understand what that is, at least not the first time. Just do your best to ride defensively when you're training a horse to go on a trail. This is the final stretch on the way home to Minmore Farms. While it looks beautiful and not intimidating, it can be very intimidating for the horses on this slight slope to be walking by all these bushes and to see ahead of them something that might be perceived as a predator. And there it is, as this camera zooms in. You will see a pile of wood, eucalyptus wood. That could be a spooky object. But my horses have been desensitized to it, progressively desensitized to it. Here are the bushes and the trees closer up. As they rode by, if there had been a deer or a bunny rabbit grazing in this grass amongst the bushes and the trees, it could have been spooky. And as they look ahead, they see more trees, more bushes, and the ominous wood pile. Again, another potential spooky object or two. Some plastic bags in the high grasses that could easily fly out in the wind. And at the same time, the spooky wood pile up ahead, and the bushes, and the white fences, and the trees, and the critters that might be roaming there. When I'm trail riding, even on a seasoned horse, if I see something like garbage in the trail, I usually say to myself and say to my animals, heads up, it's just a piece of garbage. Here's the wood pile close up, and right behind it there's a drop-off into the creek bank. So it's not a real good place to have to deal with a spooking side-passing horse. We like to approach it from the front, let them investigate, walk by it, a little bit today, a little bit tomorrow, not all at once. Sometimes, if a horse is giving you a problem with a certain task, it's best just to get even ever so slight a right answer, stop and ask for it again the next time. Because the next time they may surprise you and give you a really good right answer. Now Rosie's going to tell you after our ride and on the way home what she thought that Semi might have spooked at, or how good Semi was, or give her a grade. But let us know, Rosie.
All right. Well, I thought Semi was did pretty darn well. One thing I was surprised that she didn't show more attention or give more attention to was the horse in the pasture along the side of the road, who was whinnying at us. They didn't even whinny back really well. Did say a little?
Like once.
But they didn't really, and so that was great. They kept paying attention to us, and we turned back up the road around Up Refugio, and they were good. And yeah, Semi only started getting concerned again when we went back off the road to go around by the bushes, to come back up to the back of the property. was a little bit scary around there again. I mean, she got a little bit more excited, but you know, it wasn't like spooky and any one particular thing. It was just that area is, you know, a little bit more nervous.
Right, you know, there's good green grass right around all those bushes and within all those bushes and trees, and there are a lot of critters hanging around there, including deer and whatever. There's probably a lot of smells, a lot of noises. So, especially Eve, we need to get her reaccustomed to that area. And Alexis, do you have anything to add about Sadie?
I think the same was all pretty much true for Sadie. I'm trying to remember, I think there was a dog that was a little scary.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
walking his dog.
Yeah, his dog. He was a pretty weird looking dog, I guess. I don't know. And she got a little scared by that.
And did the dog bark?
No.
It was just the existence of the dog.
He was pretty close. They were on the road.
I mean, she didn't like, you know, run away or anything. She was just like, whoa, you know. Got it.
Yeah, from a distance we saw the dog and the man, and I mentioned it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure glad you told me that she was a little bit concerned because I couldn't see it from that distance. So, okay, now what would you suggest that we do next in duo riding challenge with Semi and Sadie together? Is there anything that you feel needs to be repeated? Maybe the very same ride?
Yeah. I'd say it couldn't hurt to do the same ride over and over and over again.
Okay.
Especially, I think, right out here, right? It's funny, the closest to home is probably the scariest part.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what we'll do. Thank you very much. Alexis and Rosa Eve came out the gate from Inmore Farms to do some trail riding here where you've seen before. You've seen her deal with the wood pile, with the bushes and the trees. Every day that we can, we take her out a little bit more in the trail, let her get accustomed to those kinds of spooky objects that tend to happen on the trail. Here she goes, much better today on the wood pile. And this is a cold, windy day in spring. Actually, we have some rain coming, possibly tomorrow. She's now approaching the bushes. She's standing now in a clearing near the bushes on the creek bank. She's definitely alert. Watch her body language. Watch her ears. So far, though, no spooky movements. And Alexis is being very patient. Now, along the bushes that can be really spooky, even to a seasoned horse, trail horse. So there are a lot of critters that hang out here in these bushes. There's some nice juicy green grass spread out between them, and so there are deer and coyotes and bobcats. We've seen them all out here, and the horses can smell them. They know them from prior rides out here. And Eve especially has been concerned out here next to the bushes. So we're giving her every opportunity for repetition. We warmed her up, and she's much better today than she was last time we rode her a couple days ago. Each day we like to make a little bit of progress. Now, there she goes. You're seeing her in places that she's been totally spooked at before. So she's gaining more confidence in her rider and in herself. And fortunately, the grasses aren't high. They've been mowed down, so we have a nice place to ask for railroad track circles and serpentines where we can see the ground cover and the ground holes and so forth. And there you go, a back anywhere is a good exercise to ask a horse to give you left brain attention, compliance to your request. A little bit of stress. You can see it. You can see it in her mouth. You can see it in her headset. But so far, nothing spooky where Alexis feels like she needs to ask for her join up who of course we have out there just in case, for safety reasons. And we're just going to do this over and over again until bushes are no big thing to Firecrest Easter Eve. Look at that ground covering walk. But not a jig. Happy to say she's not jigging. Asking her to enter Minmore Farms again without agitation. There we go. Oh, much better. We're on the way to making Eve a good trail horse.
Shadrach